very excited to have all of you in our session this morning. Those of you who have attended some of our previous webinars in our series, we are continuing today, and we are talking about marketing strategy in the B2B environment, and we'll share a lot of tips with you. I want to welcome our presenter, Dylan Kolstad, who will lead our session today. My name is Irma Karsten. I am from Shift One. We are based in South Africa, but we have offices in Europe and the US. We are a leading B2B agency to the line, and we help leaders just like you with your marketing strategies above, below the line, and also digital strategy. Today, we'll focus a little bit more on the digital strategy of things, but also other channels too. So I want to introduce you to Dylan Kolstad. She founded Shift One and the Digital Marketing Academy in 2011. She's been working all over the world, currently based in Germany, and also heading up our office in Europe. So you are very welcome, Dylan, and thank you for this session today.
Thank you, Irma, and thank you for being, as always, my insightful co-host. Welcome, everybody. We're very excited to present marketing strategy for B2B businesses. I think as a marketing manager by trade, a sales and marketing manager by trade, marketing strategy is something I've always grappled with, and I'm hoping that we demystify it a little bit for you, as well as give you some really practical ways of approaching it, and showing you the value of having a decent marketing strategy in place, especially given that we are standing on the cusp of the new year, and there is never a better time than the present to start looking at having a decent marketing strategy. So maybe I can start by asking the first question, which is, you can answer in the chat, do you have a marketing strategy in place? So maybe everybody can just give us so this is for the company that you work at, if you are the marketing manager. If you are not the marketing manager, then your dream company one day that you're going to start, or business that you're going to start. Or you can answer as if you are a service provider and you are potentially representing a number of different brands. Then the question is, for your clients, do you have a decent working, functioning marketing strategy in place? Okay, amazing. So we have got a lot of yeses. Well done. So yeah, as you know, I'm Dylan and this is Irma, and this is an engaging session, and we expect your participation, and we welcome your participation, and you're obviously welcome to just post any questions that you have here. We've got some representatives from Shift One on the line. We've got Susanne, Elzan, and Tyler also here who are going to jump in and maybe answer some questions, maybe ask some questions, and keep it an engaging session. So without any further ado, let's jump into B2B marketing today. So where are we currently at, when it comes to B2B marketing? What are we looking at? So I think for me, I can see that there is a strong shift from cold outreach and mass to a more relationship-driven space. So for those of you who are also responsible for sales, and as a sales and marketing manager and someone who's always been interested in sales and making money and making things happen and closing the sale, I think the agency that we've built is one that really, really focuses on sales, and sales is something that really drives us. So for us, we do a lot of cold outreach for our clients, because you got to pump, fill up the top of the funnel and always have, reach new people and reach new markets. But at the bottom of the funnel, you need to start, we're looking a lot more at how can we get into this relationship-driven marketing? How can we forge relationships? And there's a lot of tips and tools and tactics that we have in place that we will share with you in this workshop. But obviously in the B2B space, you're faced with longer buying cycles. As you know, all of our clients, they sell very high value products, and it takes 6 to 12 months sometimes for a sale to come through. So this is the world that we live in the B2B space. The B2B buying journey is a complex journey, with some B2B buying groups consisting of 5 to 11 people sitting in committees, sitting together before making a buying decision. So how do we as marketing managers convince these buying committees to choose us and our brand? And somebody said the other day that the decision is made before the tender goes out. So we sitting here in this room and watching this webinar and watching this video later, we are the ones that can influence that decision. Before the tender is even posted, we need to have won the sale. And that's the space that we live in, is we need to influence. So how do we influence those stakeholders? 77% of B2B buyers say their latest purchase was very complex or difficult. How do we simplify their purchasing decisions? So we're going to jump into the core pillars of B2B marketing, and these need to form the bedrock of your strategy. So if a marketing strategy can be this big or it can be this big. You can add as many things to your marketing strategy docs as you want to, and as much time that you have or budget that you have, you can expand it to be as comprehensive as you want to be. But sometimes we can get overwhelmed with the amount of detail in a marketing strategy doc, which means you need to boil it down to the most important things. What are the most important things that you need to have in your marketing strategy doc? So whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's a piece of paper, whatever it is, you need to have captured these things. So Irma, what is the thing you and I always bang on about?
So many marketers think going back to your target audiences and personas and your ideal customer profiles are really basic marketing elements. I've had the comment that it's marketing 101 and nobody does it. Well, here's the thing, you should be doing it. So if you haven't revised or looked at your audiences, your ideal customer profiles and your personas, the decision-making personas in the last few months, go and find them and go and revisit them. Because behaviors change, company structures change, job titles change. So you need to know exactly who those people in the decision-making process are. What are their roles and what are the things that matter to them? If you are speaking to a corporate company, there are legal decision makers, financial decision makers, user buyers, technical buyers, and all of them have different key performance indicators that matter to them in their role. And that's why we need to know who these companies are, what the ideal customer profile of companies that we are targeting look like in account-based marketing, and also who are the individuals making the decisions.
100% right.
Visit them.
100% right. If you asked me to do a marketing strategy for you and you only had 1 hour, I would spend it filling out what I call my target market table, which is my Excel spreadsheet or my table. And in fact, if you go on our website, there is a link to that downloadable. I'm going to ask Susan to hunt it down and share it in the chat. There is a downloadable on this amazing target market table. I would fill this table in. It's got all the sections that you need. So once you've created your ICP, your ideal client profile, go and find companies that actually look like the ICPs, example companies, or but actual companies. And then we start moving to account-based marketing, where we strongly identify the companies that we want to work with, and we woo them gently and slowly without being hard sell. We woo them, and that is account-based marketing. You start with your buyer personas and you go down to your ICPs and you boil down to your account-based marketing. And that's what focus and segmentation is all about. The more segmented your audience is, the more refined, the more niched you are, the more you will appeal to that audience, and the better you understand their needs. Whereas the broader you are, the less you will appeal, because you are mass and appeal to nobody. So then once you know who your ICP is, or your ABM, you can start creating content based on their needs. And we'll go into a little bit of that. We're going to unpack that. But once you know what type of content you're creating and who you're targeting, you can then decide your channels. Now, many marketers start their strategy with the channels. Which channels should we be on? Whereas I believe that you need to start with, who are we reaching? What are their needs? What content can I create to help them on their buying journey? And where will I find them? So that's basically this target market table that we've been talking about. And that's the persona unpack that will really lead to creating content that really helps your customers. And how can sales and marketing work together? I find that sales and marketing are almost always in conflict. I rarely find companies where they work together nicely. There's always a bit of let's call it healthy competition between sales and marketing, whereas I believe sales and marketing are Siamese twins and they need to collaborate. And how can we, as marketers, work closer with sales? And obviously, it's about data, tools, technology, and tracking to make our lives easier, but also to be able to report back on exactly what has worked. So that's kind of what we're going to be covering in this session. Obviously, in your marketing strategy, you should start with your goals, SMART goals. You should have your competitor analysis, your gap analysis, your positioning, your customer surveys, your staff surveys, your brand strategy, your go-to-market strategy, and deep unpacks. And that's something that we work with all of our clients when they come on board. We do various levels of in-depth marketing strategies for them to get to the main insight after all the research has been done. How are we going to stand out? What is it that makes us unique? Okay, let's start by talking a little bit about the target persona. So here you have the target market table that I mentioned, and you can add anything in this doc that you want. I always say a table solves every problem. So you could add, Irma, what are some of the other columns we could add in this spreadsheet?
What also works very well is if you understand the human being, how many years of experience would somebody in a corporate company typically have as the chief financial officer? Because that also helps with your messaging, right? So what are their qualifications, years of experience, and also what, if you look at the column there that says the needs and the pains, also the message and the gains, how would your product or service or solution solve their problem? So that's why it's very important to understand what their KPIs are in the role that they are in. As I mentioned earlier, the legal decision maker in the same company will look at different aspects of engaging with your company, as where a financial director would look at revenue, cost saving, profit. The chief technical officer, if you are in the technology space, they will look at usability, implementation, lead times. So also we need to really focus on those second and third columns. You can have super complex personas. The best persona document, if you want to do one online, is by SEMrush. If someone from the team can maybe just find us the B2B SEMrush persona tool, because that includes a whole lot more information, even things like what their family composition looks like. Because somebody who may be a chief financial officer in a corporate company, usually is someone 40 years plus, maybe, with adult children, and the way they make decisions and the way that their decisions are influenced is completely different to a fresh graduate in a junior role. So understanding the human being behind the decision makers, so align with your ICP, the industry that they are in, what it is that we are offering, how we solve their problems.
Full marks, absolutely. And I think what I like most about what you just said, Irma, is that please don't lump your job titles together. We should actually not have job titles in a column. It should be in a row, because you're exactly to your point, your engineer, your CEO, your CFO, your CRO, your CIO, they all have very, very different motivators than your engineer or the procurement manager who has to go and find the businesses. So you need to actually unpack each of these row by row, and it takes a little bit of time. And if you've done a little bit of research and some surveys beforehand, you're actually making informed decisions, not guesses, because we're all guessing until you've asked your actual customers for the answers. And then
If I may just add, sorry,
Yeah.
Dylan, if I could just add something. Do you know where to find many of these answers? Speak to your sales team. Speak to your customer-facing team. They deal with these decision makers, on a personal face-to-face level. So you don't need to guess from a marketing perspective. Most of the answers are in your existing client base, because you needed more clients like your current clients. So your sales team should be your best friends. Make friends with them.
Yeah, spot on, which is why we like to survey the sales team, the customers, and your call center staff, because those three sources are on the coal face actually dealing with customers. And often we as marketers are removed from our customers. There's nothing better than actually going out on sales calls as a marketing manager, go on the sales calls, at least one or two a month, if not more frequently. Listen to the calls that are coming into the call center. As a marketer, there's nothing more insightful than that. And it'll give you real ideas into the next pillar of your marketing strategy, which is your content strategy. So, Irma, do we still need to create content in this day and age? And please tell me the difference between a content plan and content marketing. If I have a content plan, isn't that content marketing? Isn't that my content strategy ticked?
Let us ask our participants to also answer that question while I'm answering the question. Is your content plan and your content marketing strategy, are those the same things? And I'd love to hear what it is. You probably, I'm going to give you the answer now, right? But they are not the same things. A content marketing strategy means what are those assets we create, valuable, value-adding assets that will make the lives of your target audiences easier. Things like templates, white papers, tools that create an opportunity for inbound marketing, where your ideal customers then reach out and ask for more information. Where your content plan includes things like your social posts, the frequency of your posting, and other types of information, where your content marketing strategy is inbound. Your content plan is often pushing out content, publishing content. One-way content publishing, where your content marketing plan is to generate leads. I don't see any comments in the chat. There are no wrong answers, right? We all do it differently. But when, especially in the B2B space, we really need to move out of the mindset of just looking at a social calendar or a social plan or the frequency of our mailers, and really look at what are those pieces of content that will add value to our customers and turn them into marketing qualified leads and nurturing them through the process to become sales qualified leads.
100% right. Social media, content plan, absolutely necessary. Minimum cost of being in business is having a decent social media content plan and having a decent website. That's what I tell all our clients. If you're in business, those two, sunk cost needed. It's not, don't think you're moving the needle by putting those two things in place. It's bedrock. And then if you want to be on the next level and start building the next story of your marketing house, it's creating amazing world-class content, which means that content still is king. And we're looking at long form content that builds trust. Long form content, not just short form content. You need to write short form and you need to write long form, basically. Case studies, white papers, those are your big conversion drivers that you're looking at. So 70% of B2B buyers cite content as a major factor in buying decisions. So there's a statistic to back you up when you go and argue for white papers, case studies, and longer form content. 57% of executives struggle to differentiate between competing providers' material. That means that you look and sound just like your competitors. How are you being different? How are you standing out? How are you going to differentiate yourself from your competitors? So if your executives can't differentiate you, if you can't differentiate you, neither can your customers. And that's a big part of marketing strategy, is understanding how are we different? How do we compete? What are our competitors saying? How do we go and find blue ocean, blue sky where there's no birds, blue ocean where there's nobody around us? And how do we position ourselves so that we really, really stand out? If everything is the same, drowning in a sea of sameness. 94% of marketers agree that trust still is key in B2B marketing. Now, we've known for a very long time that trust is key. We've known it for many, 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 many years, but how do you build trust? Irma, give us some examples of how to build trust.
Well, trust means different things to different people in the B2B space. So it could mean the your certifications in your specific industry. Some clients may want to see, if you look at your procurement managers, when they do their due diligence and they look at your, what needs to be in place from a service provider's aspect, that could mean your certificates, your even bios or CVs from your clients, showcasing the experience, the skill, the people in your organizations. It could mean reviews. It could mean testimonials, case studies. So trust Different people process information in different ways. And we also need to know our clients or ideal customer profiles and the personas within our customers very well to understand what would matter to the decision maker that I'm trying to reach to build their trust. Would it be valuable content showcasing our authority, like white papers, for example, showing that we are leaders in the industry, or checklists or templates? So trust can be built in different ways, but it can also mean, speaking to the people in the roles that we are targeting in terms of what is important to them. From a legal aspect, it may be important for, a prospective client to know that you are compliant with data and privacy protection policies globally, for example, because the European data protection policies are different to South African policies. That could be a trust element. So trust can be built in different ways, but also showing up consistently. So trust is built when you show up, like in any relationship, a real human relationship. Trust is built over time. And, it may not be only one piece of content that will build trust, but it's multiple touch points, multiple elements in your content strategy.
That's right. We had a software as a service client launch a new service. We built their website, did their social media, wrote incredible heavyweight articles for them. And it took about 6 months while their prospective clients were checking them out to see who is this company? Are they going to keep it up? Is it sustainable? Is it consistent? And they closed a massive, massive, massive whale in the form of a joint venture. And we actually lost the client because they shut down all their sales. They couldn't cope. So that is exactly the case with trust. It's about consistency and keeping it up. And 68% of B2B executives have increased their consumption of thought leadership content, citing improvements in relevance, utility, and credibility. So if you think that your executives who are making these decisions are not consuming thought leadership content that your executives are creating or that your company is creating, you are sorely mistaken. And I think this is increasing as more and more of our C-suite become active in the content consumption space. So what is the top content forms delivering ROI? Short form video, images, live stream, podcasts, user-generated content. This is very much a B2C slide, but I put it here because I want to know from you, are we as B2B marketers dry, dull, and boring? And are we as B2B marketers pushing content out in the form that our consumers like to consume it? So our clients are also human beings that have downtime and want to sit and chill. And what do people do these days? They lift up the phone. Where are they? On video-based platforms, on short reel-based platforms, because that's the addiction of the day. And they're consuming short-form content. So as B2B marketers, short-form video has to be a part of your strategy. Absolutely has to be part of your strategy. So short form video, how can you create content? We're not necessarily talking about being on TikTok, but we're definitely talking about creating content that is consumable. Images, live stream video. I hope you realize that the value of this podcast and this video webinar is not necessarily right now the live participants, but the big asset that's being created as part of our video strategy. We upload this to YouTube, we create little segments, we send it out, we put this up on Reels-based content. So the value of creating these assets, which Omar was talking about, asset creation, is the snippetizing and the short forming it. And then user-generated content is absolutely something that I think B2B businesses need to start getting into a lot more. We'll talk about influencer marketing in a bit, but 99% of senior executives now consider thought leadership crucial for evaluating potential advisors, a substantial increase from 2023. And we're also looking there at short form content, brand storytelling, testimonials, and demos. So I want to talk a little bit about value framing. So what is value framing? So companies doing value framing experience a 20% lift in quality deals. What is value framing? Value framing is interactions that help buyers understand how to use a solution to improve their job or company performance. Remember, we understand who our customers are, we understand what their pains are, and as a result, we understand how our product or service solves these pains. So if you create content that helps buyers understand how this thing improves their job, you're going to get a bonus because you're doing this. You're going to get your year-end KPIs will be great because we're helping you be better at your job. And value affirmation has a 30% lift in quality deals. And what is value affirmation? It's by you help your buyer validate that a purchase is right for them and feel confident about the decision. So you need to help that buyer post-purchase dissonance. Has anybody had post-purchase dissonance? You buy that thing and you are disappointed that you bought that thing. You got on the hype and then you're disappointed. And there's no content created to affirm that actually there's value here. So it's content creation is not just about getting them to buy. It's getting them to realize that they made a good decision in buying. Most of our clients, CEOs and marketing managers follow our social platforms for value affirmation. They want to see that we practice what we preach and that we really are doing for ourselves what we are doing for everybody else out there and for our clients. So here's a nice practical table, and Irma and I love this. So what we're looking at is practically, what would this look like in your life? How could you practically create content that does value framing and value affirmation? So in the problem identification of the funnel, Irma and I love the funnel. Problem identification, you could create an article on the top industry challenges. And in the value affirmation, you create a calculator to estimate problem costs. Solution exploration, you could create a nice peer benchmarking data report or a product selection tool. Video product demo, visualizer, and so on down the funnel. So do yourself a favor, create yourself in your table, your customer table, your target market table, add a column called value framing and call it, and you should have a column for each stage of the funnel, because you have customers at different stages of the buying journey and you need to create content for different stages of the funnel. So for value framing and value framing, get new customers. Value affirmation, affirm with the customers that you have that they made the right decision. Okay, let's jump into your channel strategy. So this is the place everybody wants to get started. Obviously, when it comes to B2B, Irma, talk to me about LinkedIn.
So if you haven't discovered the power and the magic of LinkedIn, now is the time. That is where your decision makers are spending their time looking for solutions like yours. But here's the thing. Human beings, real people with marketing tools spend their time on other social platforms, but they're probably not looking for your solution on Facebook and Instagram. But we shouldn't disregard the fact that they are spending time there. CEOs also scroll through Facebook lying on the couch on Saturday afternoon. But LinkedIn is where they will go find key decision makers or key experts like your company offers. So it is still the number one channel for social selling and for lead generation. But I wanted to mention this cliche earlier. It's a cliche, but there's usually truth in a cliche. But people still buy from people, even if you are in the B2B space. So LinkedIn is where people feature, and also the LinkedIn algorithm favors individual content. So LinkedIn is where lead generation happens, where individuals start building relationships with the right individuals, and your sales team should do the same. So we help our clients with social selling. We take them through an entire process in terms of finding the right decision makers, engaging with them, building relationships, and we've had massive success. So it is something that you should be doing if you haven't yet.
100%. As a B2B marketer, LinkedIn is your jam, and we all need to be pros at LinkedIn. You need to understand the functionality. LinkedIn's got university, content that you can create, and create a little calendar booking, half an hour every day to go through the university, create a little calendar booking to just scroll through it and look for ideas and learn. It is only by being active in a platform that you really start to understand it and really unpack the tools. Like sign up for the free premium trial, sign up for the LinkedIn Navigator trial. Really take time to understand how they work. They all work in the way that we just said. Identify your ICP, identify their needs, and start to target them. But LinkedIn really has a lot of power. And I'm obviously a big fan of email marketing, and I always have been. I feel like the email list and building an email list should be your number one priority as a marketer. Because if I follow you on LinkedIn and I love seeing your content, but I didn't happen to be online when you posted that epic post, I didn't see it and I missed it completely. And you didn't boost it, and so it didn't come to me. And nobody has unlimited money to boost to their entire follower base. So how can you reach me in a way that I get it? And that is email. So every marketer's job is to grow an email list. Email is the shiz, to put it mildly. Email is absolutely the gold. So hunt the email addresses, make sure that they're opted in. We're not spammers. Don't send out junk. Don't send out hard sell. Nobody wants hard sell. Nobody wants to be hard sold, and we are not hard sellers. We are people who understand need, and we create valuable content, and we understand what value looks like for our customers. Use the two together for best results. And if you want to kapow them, you create campaigns with omni-channel, through the line touch points, and you will just see amazing ROI when you start mixing all your channels together. So LinkedIn generates 80% of B2B leads from social media. Let's just talk quickly about influencer marketing. So Irma, can B2B businesses do influencer marketing?
Absolutely, yes. And I think we just need to define what a B2B influencer is. So the definition of an influencer is someone whose opinion is respected by their communities, or someone who is regarded as an expert in the communities and in their fields or in their industry. So LinkedIn influencers can be micro influencers, experts. It can be your CEO. It can be someone in your team who's an expert. So influencers are not only the celebrities on LinkedIn, but the experts who can add value to their audiences and whose followers align with your followers. So an influencer in your industry can be someone who is respected. It can be someone who is maybe in a agency or association or a regulatory body in your industry that is not a competing company, but in the sorry, I'm scrambling for words now. But an influencer in your industry can be someone from, let's say, the Engineers Association or Accounting Association, as an example, who can offer value to your audiences, but also then promote and confidently endorse your services without the hard sell. So it's slightly different. B2B influencer marketing is more about adding value again and sharing information that makes the lives of your audiences better, and not just about the celebrity status. So don't be fooled by huge followers. Even a small following, but with the right followers in that community of an expert or a influencer, can make a huge difference in terms of creating content or acting as a content creating partner and sharing their expertise with your audiences.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. I think to just my 2 cents as well is what a B2B influencer wants to create content that shows that they are ahead of the trend and ahead of the curve, and that they are real experts in what they do. So if you as a business have cutting edge research that you've just launched, share it with your B2B influencers first, because you want to uplift them. And by uplifting them, they will uplift you. So most B2B influencers will work for free, and they don't require payment as long as the content helps them to achieve what it is that they need to achieve, which is building their own personal brand built around trust and expertise. So how can you as a business work with B2B creators to create content that helps them grow, and also create content that benefits and share the content and benefit your brand at the same time? It's very similar to the influencer space in B2C. All right, my favorite topic. As a sales and marketing manager, and as somebody who has always been about the sale, I want sales and marketing to work together. And I believe that marketing should support sales. I believe that marketing at the end of the day drives everyone down, pulls up that funnel, that pipeline, and sales is the team at the bottom that's converting it. But there is a role that sales has to play, and our next webinar is going to unpack this a lot. So that there is a role that sales has to play in terms of starting to be influenced and active higher up the funnel. Salespeople, you are not just here to grab the lead as it comes through from marketing and complain about the quality of the lead. It is your job, salespeople, to be active on LinkedIn, to social sell, to woo your customers, to be known, to show that you too are a thought leader in your space and that you are an expert in your space. At a minimum, share the content that the company is creating and build a following just by sharing your own the content that the company is creating, if you don't want to be active yourself. But salespeople, you are not just there to receive the leads. You will need to be active all the way up the funnel in relationship building, as you know. So digital sales, digital relationship building is the space to be very, very active in, and to understand that you can really also work well with marketing. So if we're moving towards an account-based marketing side, and the sales team need to identify who they want as customers and work very, very closely with the marketing team, so the marketing team can go and actually create content directly at those individuals, so that it's literally a one-on-one engagement. Personalized, targeted for key accounts. You get a better return on investment than broad shotgun campaigns. So 97% of marketers achieve higher ROI with ABM than other strategies. So definitely be working together, marketing and sales players. So what kind of campaigns can we create as marketing and sales to work together to create sales? At the end of the day, all of our clients look to us for sales. They all want results. So we eat, sleep, and breathe everything that can create sales and drive sales. So the components of a successful campaign, marketing 101, you need to set clear goals. Create an Excel spreadsheet and set your goals out clearly, SMART goals. How many this is on per channel, and if I convert at this rate, what will it look like? If I get so many, then I need that many per channel. Unpack it, and then identify your audiences, and then actually go and find them on the platforms. So where are you going to find them? By job title. Create a channel strategy, cold emails, automated emails, paid ads, search and social, content, social, articles, press, video, events, webinars, landing pages. Set your tracking up, make sure everything speaks together and is pulled together inside your all-in-one platform. And then at the end of the day, do your analysis. So what kind of marketing campaigns are there that businesses can do? We all know what these campaigns look like. First, going to cover some of the broader marketing campaign types, and then I'm going to go into some more hardcore sales campaign types. Obviously, there's a content marketing campaign where you're going to create a great piece of content and you're going to target it to your audience. It can include live demos and video. Obviously, you can do event-based marketing. So, leveraging events, whether that is a webinar or an actual event, and inviting your VIP clients to that, very, very, very key. There's social media campaigns where you can, using LinkedIn and YouTube, promote brand awareness, recruitment, community engagement, whatever it is that you're looking for, and obviously brand awareness campaigns. But what hardcore, slightly more salesy campaigns are there that you can do? Lead generation campaigns, obviously, lead generation is our middle name, and everything that we do, we want to get leads. So we're really, really pros in building this pipeline and creating omni-channel lead generation campaigns with the goal to book appointments. So these are some of the campaigns that marketing can set up that really support sales. Product launch campaigns. How can you create excitement, drive that sale, and really support the sales team by launching new products out there? Customer retention campaigns. So I think somebody posted on the questions, how can you retain clients, or how do you remarket to lost clients? It needs to be as much a part of your strategy as acquiring new clients. You need acquisition campaigns, conversion campaigns, retention campaigns, and reactivation campaigns. So you need to know how it's not just about acquiring new customers, because if you're not retaining them, you're losing out on a lot of revenue, and it's expensive to acquire new customers, as we all know. How can you convert customers? So you've got all of these names that you've been harvesting over this time. How do you actually convert them? So create conversion campaigns to don't just constantly be mining new people, go back and mine the old. And then how do you create campaigns to firstly retain your customers, and then secondly to actually go and reactivate them? You just need to sit down and think about who are they, what are their needs, where have they gone, and how can I win them back? And maybe even just sending out a survey is a good starting point to understand why they left in the first place, because you can't win them back if you haven't fixed that thing. And then account-based marketing campaigns, obviously creating campaigns to actually appeal to those handful of customers that you really, really want to woo. A couple of best practices in your campaign is obviously know your audiences, personalize the content, tell a visual story, and then leverage your wins and social proof. Okay, I'm going to take a breather here and see if we have any questions. Is there anything anybody wants to ask? Irma? I've been doing a lot of speaking, and I think everyone's tired of the sound of my voice. I think it's time for you to say some things. Do you want to mention anything when on the campaign side before I move on to automations that can support sales?
I think the third pillar there, telling a visual story, is very important. So what does a story look like? What does storytelling look like in the B2B environment? It tells a story of how you can help your audience that you are speaking to, or your personas, to achieve success. So it's never about your products and features. Nobody cares about your products and features. They care about the problem you can solve for them. So storytelling is about telling the story of your audience, leading them to success. What will their lives look like before and after your solution, or without your solution? And that is what visual storytelling is, and that's where data comes in. Instead of just mentioning your features and benefits. There's a slight difference, although you can focus on the features and benefits, but how will it solve a problem? And that is what storytelling means in a B2B environment.
Yeah, totally agreed. Okay, let's talk quickly about some automations that you can put in place. So what are the automations that marketing can actually put in place to support sales? So you're looking at technology all-in-one platforms like HighLevel, of which we are a reseller. Please reach out to us, and I can ask Tyler to share the link to HighLevel, which is our recommended CRM. If you come under us and under our license, it's cheaper than if you go directly. So we have seen tremendous success, both for us personally as a business and for our clients, where we've implemented these automations. So what is an automation? It's where somebody fills out an inquiry on the website and they get an automated stream of follow-up emails coming out to them to constantly check in or to share great content. And it just removes some of the admin from the sales team, because humans are fallible and they're not always following up as they should be. So what do? We build these lovely workflows in so that sales team get reminders, accounts get reminders, product team gets reminders, as well as the customer gets reminders. And at the end of the day, you've got this fabulous system that's built that isn't dependent upon human beings. So you could do automated emails for each type of inquiry, depending on the channel that they're on or depending on the product that they're interested in. So if I filled out an inquiry and I was interested in the service, I get different emails than if I was interested in that service. So there's a lot that can be done and can be built that we are busy installing for most of our clients. And it's definitely something that we've seen a huge lift in our own business. So as a marketer, what can we do? And as a sales manager, what should we be doing to work together? I'm not going to go into this into too much detail because we have a lot of content and we're still not even near the end of the presentation. And so let's talk about data tools and technology. My favorite thing as a marketing As a marketer, you need to be a chief marketing technologist. You need to understand technology. And just the same as you need to understand data, and you need to have access to the data, and you need to be able to interpret the data. So as marketers, we understand the power of data, and that data trumps opinions every single day. So the beauty of data is that it gives you fact-based opinions as opposed to emotional opinions. And the beauty of technology is that it supports everything you do, makes it easier, and helps you with tracking. Irma, talk to me about your favorite thing, which is data analytics and tracking.
I don't think a digital marketer can, or a marketing manager, not just digital, can do their jobs properly without data. And it's easier said than done. But all of our decisions should be made on the basis of data and results. It takes the emotion and the stress out of decision making and deciding which channels to focus on, where to allocate budget, and data informs everything. It is a bit of a challenge if you're working with for us, if we work with a brand new client and we don't have historic data, because then we can see what our conversion rates are. And that is what a marketer should focus on. If you didn't know what the one thing is that you should focus on after the session, the one thing is conversion rate optimization. That is your job as a marketer, is to improve conversion rates. But without data, you will never know what your conversion rates on different platforms and channels are. So data helps us to make the right decisions, allocate the budgets correctly, and then see results on the right channels, and be active and proactive where our clients are spending time and finding information. So I can give you a whole lecture on data, but I'll leave it at that for now.
Absolutely. How do you as a marketer reply on that question that the executives always ask us, which is the return on investment or the return on marketing investment? And the simple analytics and the simple formulas that you can put in place to understand the return on investment. You just need to know what's the value of the sale, how many leads came through, how much did we spend, and what's the conversion rate? And you can answer the return on investment, the return on ad spend, and the return on marketing investment as well. If you have that information, you can go back with hard numbers saying, we spent this much, but we brought in this much. And that's why marketing and sales must be friends, because if the sales team are not telling you where the leads came from and you're not able to track that using good technology and an all-in-one platform, then how are you going to show and justify that you need a bigger budget next year? So that's really, really important when it comes to your marketing strategy, is standing on the numbers of this year to project for next year and to justify the channels that you want, the approach you want, and the budget that you want, and which channels and budget work together to support the sales, because everything works together. So you can't just look at one channel and say, this channel did this, because what we see in our real life is that a customer may see that ad, they may get that email, and then they go to the website and convert on the website. And sales thinks that that's a direct sale. And if you don't have some tracking in place, or the tracking doesn't hold, you need to be able to say, no, actually that came from marketing and it came from these two initiatives that we drove. And that is what we call multi-touch attribution. Being able to attribute where the sale came from is marketing nirvana, because you want to be able to claim it. Claim it. And that's the most important thing. So definitely you need to be using AI, and I think everybody knows about it. We ran a last webinar on AI, and it was very well attended and very well received. And I recommend you go and find it on our YouTube channel. I can ask the team to share the link as well. We'll also put the link in the description. But businesses using advanced analytics are 2.6 times more likely to exceed marketing ROI goals. And that's because it's a numbers game. As a digital marketer, you are a numbers person. And obviously, we're all using AI. So we're all using AI for content creation, writing. We're all using AI for data analytics and insights. And if you're not, you should be. And workflow automation, as well as research. Definitely, it can help us to stand on the shoulders of giants and do some of the heavy lifting. So we've seen this document here, and you know about the value framing and the value affirmation. So how can we support sales at each step of the way? And that is where our beautiful little all-in-one tool comes along, because reps are notified of usage. and the conversation can be tailored. If I, as a rep, know that this prospect I'm spoken to consumed this content, I can tailor my conversation. If I, as a rep, know that this prospect went through that buyer guide, I can tailor my conversation. If I know that they watched this video, I can tailor my conversation. So, and the follow-up emails should be tailored accordingly based on what the customer has been engaging with. And that's really where relationship comes in and relationship building, because if you know that I've consumed this content, please don't start talking about it as if I haven't and start trying to introduce me to it. So definitely use the power of technology to track and report, and platforms like HighLevel can pull all of your marketing into one place and centralize all of your numbers into one place, into dashboards. And that's really the power of it. Instead of having 6 different tools and platforms out there, you want to actually have it all under one roof. It's specifically for sales. They can use the sales section. Marketing, you can use the marketing section. There's even a training section. There's even a project management section. And there's tons there in terms of automations and funnel building. Okay, I want to talk you through a very, very quick case study from Shift 1. And then I'm going to share a bunch of case studies I'm not going to go into, but when we share the deck and the video with you after the fact, you can, you're welcome to dig into it in a little bit more detail. So we had a well-known energy brand reach out to us, and they wanted leads. They wanted specifically appointments to be set for an event that they were going to be attending, a very large expo. What did we do? So we sat down, we created a strategy, we did our research. Omni-channel campaign with a strong focus on lead generation. Everything had to drive leads. We set up all of our tracking. Attribution modeling is very, very important in this space. We want to know which channel is bringing the leads in and supporting the other channels. And so the strategy was highly funnel focused, with different content created at different aspects of the funnel, and with a view of once you've engaged with this, then you see this, and once you've engaged with this, then you see this. So we created a very, very technology focused, technology empowered, funnel focused strategy, looking at your top of funnel, middle of funnel, and then looking at how can we convert and retain interventions in between. So we then built the creative, we set up the channels. We at the top of the funnel, we had Google search ads, YouTube ads, Meta ads, cold email outreach. Middle of funnel, we had our landing page. We had social media content, organic, warm email outreach, remarketing ads. At bottom of funnel, we had our more Google search, YouTube ads, and then engagement. How did we drive engagement? We had competitions and win and spin loyalty cards. We had a live calendar that could be booked and things like that. So what were the results? We had over 7,000 win and spin engagements, 68 appointments booked in the 3 weeks that the campaign ran, nearly 50,000 landing page visits, with a massive uplift to the website, a return on ad spend of 5.6. That means if they put in R1, they got 5.6 back, and a return on marketing investment of 460%. That means that the campaign returned 460% profit to the marketers, to the marketing team based on marketing spend. So it works, and we know that it works. We've got a couple more case studies here from international businesses, which I'm not going to go through. Since 2000. Some nice video-led ones. We've got Upwork. We've got General Electric using storytelling. We've got HubSpot and their podcast. We've got LinkedIn with one of their campaigns, and you are welcome to explore it. I think a key takeaway is that B2B companies are leveraging omni-channel, authentic stories, personalization to create an emotional connection with their buyers and their consumers and their prospects, and to reinforce their brand values in everything. Mixed martial arts is literally. So you're welcome to go and look at that in some detail. Irma, practically speaking, how does a marketer go and apply this? What are the first steps that they should do?
So thank you, Dylan. Yeah, so after our session today, if you haven't done it recently, go back to your audiences first, or if you need to start your marketing plan again. Audiences need to be unpacked in detail, help to understand, and that will also answer your question, Matani, in the chat. In terms of your different audiences, your different segments, even though you may have complete different segments in your audiences, one size does not fit all when it comes to messaging, positioning, the channels. So that is the first thing that should be done. Then align your content plan to speak to these different personas. So create like a rhythm and alternate the type of content between branded content, product content, people content, but also then tailor your captions, your messaging, your call to action, and the type of content they consume to these different types of personas to help build the trust. Campaigns are then also super helpful in terms of precision targeting. So in paid media campaigns, we can really ring fence the audiences that we want to reach. And also in organic content, do not neglect your organic content strategy, because organic supports your paid media. If your paid media campaign stops, the traffic stops, the results stop. So your organic content should support ongoing engagement, ongoing loyalty, giving your followers ongoing content that make their lives easier. And all of that should be done initially in month 1. So those are the first steps that you should focus on. And then also, once you have data in terms of the types of content your audiences react to or engage with or request, that's where automation can then support your sales initiatives. So email is talking. Your most valuable asset in digital marketing specifically is your email list. You may have 1 million followers on LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok or wherever. If for some reason that platform is shut down, your followers do not belong to you. Those followers are gone. Your email list is an asset that belongs to you. So make sure that you invest time in building up a quality email list and then automate those processes. Support your sales team, just like Dylan said earlier. If a sales rep spoke to a potential client, a well-worded email followed at the right interval can really close that deal. And that's where a tool like HighLevel can support your sales and marketing processes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No.
So then your rollout plan, remember guys, your rollout plan is always supported by data. So you may try new things, test new things. Some will work, others won't. But only if we have data do we know what do we need to stop, start, or continue doing, and where we can optimize our conversion rates. My favorite thing to always say when it comes to data is when you know your data back to front, what works, we do more of that. So if you have a landing page or a page on your website that gets a lot of traffic, maybe it's an old blog article, send more traffic there. If you know that your LinkedIn page is highly engaging, keep doing that. And then we start testing new channels and new platforms and optimize from there. But it's a rinse and repeat, right? So for the next 5 months, if you apply all these steps, you can see real results, but you should always go back and repeat the process continuously.
Absolutely. And we're running out of time, but here's a little 1-page marketing strategy that you could put together, put all the important things on it, put it up in front of your table, and constantly ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing what needs to be done? So you can do this for each of your different audiences, but constantly remind yourself, who am I speaking to, and create the post for the audience of one. So create the post for that one audience member, that one target market that you're trying to reach. And just in closing, I think just to summarize, so build a strategy around your audiences and data, and not around assumptions. Definitely look at content for building trust and conversions. LinkedIn and account-based marketing are really where it's at. Email marketing and automations definitely need to be doing that. Measure everything. And a couple of just trends to investigate. We're at the end of our webinar, but you can look at these in your own time. There's definitely a lot going, and AI is definitely your friend in terms of helping you. We've got a free guide there, and those of you need to hop off. It's been lovely having you on the webinar. And definitely be reaching out to us if you need help with anything, especially setting up HighLevel. As I said, it's half to a third of the price if you come through us than if you go directly. But yeah, lovely having you on the call. Thank you, Irma, again. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please follow our social media channels and connect with Irma and myself on LinkedIn. That would be amazing. And have a lovely day, everybody. And always be selling. ABS, always be selling. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, and have a great day.
Sonia, I'll ask Tyler to reach out and just give the answer to your question. Tyler is our lead generation king, and we are definitely compliant with the POPI Act and other data protection acts in terms of email marketing. So Tyler, please reach out to Sonia and just send some information her way. And we'll also be popping our links in the chat. Just so before you go, just give us a follow, engage with us, and let's take the conversation further. We're happy to build relationships with you as well and help you as marketers. There we go. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thank you, Dylan, as always, for a very insightful talk. We hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Please join us for our next talk next month. We'll share the information soon. Thanks, everybody.